Once upon a time, in a kingdom made of gingerbread, gumdrops, and candy canes, there lived a beautiful princess with hair like spun sugar and skin like milk and honey. Oh, and she also had a wicked sense of humor and was really into paper bag puppets. Now, while our princess was indeed lovely, her looks were nothing compared to her brother, Prince Percival, whose handsomeness was so legendary it attracted the attention of dragons. Well, one dragon in particular, Derek the dragon, was head over heels in love with Prince Percival. And since he knew no one would ever love him because of his chronic halitosis, he decided to kidnap the prince, marry him, and then force him to inhale flowers all day, so that his dragon breath could smell like roses instead of sulfur. Derek's plan was foolproof, but unfortunately for him, he hadn't taken the princess's feelings into account. You see, when Derek flew into the castle and scooped up her brother, she was just finishing up an exciting game of knights and dragons with her favorite paper bag puppets. "Oh, what a shame," said the princess, not missing a beat. "Looks like Sir Reginald has been captured by the fearsome dragon of doom. What am I going to do? There's only one thing left for me to do. I must put on my armor." And with that, she ran upstairs to change into something more comfortable. Now, normally this would have been a most unfortunate turn of events. But luckily, thanks to the princess's uncanny ability to make the best of any situation, this turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because the real dragon of doom was wearing a hat that day, so no one noticed he slipped away unnoticed. Now it was quite a walk to Derek's lair, and the princess didn't feel like walking. So she did what any sensible person would do and commandeered a passing bull. Then, realizing how rude it was to steal someone else's ride, she found a carrot and left a coin in its place. She rode to Derek's lair, only to find a giant pile of gold at the entrance. And since she didn't know where else to go, she sat on the pile of gold and pulled out her book of poetry. After a few minutes, a little man popped out from behind a rock and said, "Well, hello there. Are you here about the job?" The princess looked up from her book and said, "What job?" The little man explained that every year, Derek the dragon held a contest for whoever could get to his lair first and win his treasure. This year, though, he had upped the stakes. If the winner could solve a series of riddles he posed, Derek would not only give them his treasure, but grant them a wish. The princess thought to herself, "Well, I guess I might as well stick around. I wouldn't say no to a talking horse." With that, she settled back down on her gold pile to wait. In the meantime, let's check in on Derek the dragon, who was busy getting ready for the annual treasure hunt and trying to look cool. Fortunately for him, though, whenever he tried puffing out his chest, he accidentally inhaled some air, causing his underarms to expand. Derek hated this, but he knew the best way to avoid sweat stains was to wear a stylish hooded cloak that hid his whole body. As Derek finished up his preparations, he heard a knock at the door. Who could that be? He wondered. He opened the door to see a small stack of pancakes standing on his welcome mat. Attached to the pancakes was a note that read, "To win my treasure, you must first defeat my 3 magical pancake servants." Derek followed the directions and easily defeated the pancakes, thinking himself quite clever. "Ha!" he said. "I outsmarted the pancake man. I bet there's loads of treasure waiting for me." When he got to the spot where the pancakes had been, though Derek found a note and a pair of slippers. Confused, he followed the instructions on the note and stuck his foot into the slippers. Suddenly, they started tickling his toes, and before he knew it, Derek was doubled over in laughter. And out from behind a tree popped the princess, who asked, "So, are you here for the job?" Derek, still in fits of giggles, nodded his head. Meanwhile, the princess was enjoying the view, perched up high on her rock. As Derek stumbled toward her, she called out, "Oh, so you think you can win my treasure, huh? You haven't even met my monkey yet." Out from behind another tree popped a baboon, and the two stared at each other for a moment. Finally, the monkey broke the silence and said, Do we need to attack him? Because I'm kind of hungry." "No need," said the princess. "He's already won my treasure." The monkey scratched his head and asked, "Wait, what does that mean?" As Derek approached, he saw the princess sitting on her rock, and his heart skipped a beat. "She's even prettier than my sister, Dolores," he thought. Derek took a deep breath and said, "Hello, fair maiden. Are you here for the job?" The princess asked. "Oh, the annual treasure hunt, the riddles, the pancakes, the monkey," she said, waving her hand dismissively. Percival suddenly realized that Derek was the Dragon of Doom, and he wasn't looking for treasure or a wife. He was looking for him. Holy Mother of Pearl, he cried. You want me? But I'm straight. The princess raised an eyebrow and said, oh, don't be silly. Everyone's straight until they meet the right person. Then with a wink she added, besides, I hear Derek's breath smells like roses. Derek blushed and stammered. I didn't know anyone was here for me. I just put on this stupid cloak and came out here hoping someone would admire my dashing good looks. Dashing good looks, the princess repeated. She looked up and down at Derek and then burst out laughing. Oh, Derek, sometimes you dragons can be so oblivious. It's actually kind of endearing. Now Derek was used to people admiring his looks, and he wasn't sure what to make of this strange girl who found him funny. But then she stood up on her rock and took a bow. Are you here for the job, Derek? She asked. Derek blinked a few times and suddenly realized the princess had been playing with him the whole time. But instead of being angry, he found himself strangely relieved. Me? Yeah, I guess I am, he said. But what can I do? I've never done this sort of thing before. That's when the princess stopped laughing. This isn't a game, Derek. My brother is depending on me. I have to save him. Her voice was shaking now, and she looked at Derek with tears in her eyes. Please help me. Derek felt his heart melt. Of course, he wanted to be the hero, wanted to be the one saving the princess, but he wasn't sure how. Luckily for him, the princess was very clear on what she needed. All I need is a big, strong dragon who can fly me to my brother's castle. Derek perked up at this. Oh, I can do that. With that, the two set off toward the horizon. And the monkey, watching them leave, shook his head and said to himself, honestly, these dragons are hopeless. As they flew, Derek told the princess all about his chronic halitosis and how it kept him from finding true love. And the princess told Derek about how much she loved her paper bag puppets and how she always dreamed of having a pet monkey. When they finally arrived at the dragon's castle, the princess thanked Derek for his help and went off to find her brother. Meanwhile, Derek watched from a distance, hiding behind a nearby tree. And that's when the real Dragon of Doom emerged from the castle and roared. Who's there? It's me, Derek whispered. You're the one who stole my throne. Prepare to die. Derek fired a fireball at the dragon, who simply laughed. Is that the best you can do? How adorable. The dragon blew Derek away with a gust of wind, and then he noticed Derek's cloak floating in the grass nearby. He picked it up and looked at it curiously. I wonder who this belonged to. With that, the dragon put on the hood and walked back into his castle. Derek, covered in soot, was sitting on a nearby rock, dejected. That's when the princess came running over and asked, Did you defeat the dragon? No, admitted Derek. He just laughed at me and blew me away. Then the princess did something unexpected. She reached out and took Derek's face in her hands. You don't need to be a dragon to be a hero, Derek, she said, looking him in the eyes. You already are. But then with a wink, she added, besides, I hear you smell like roses. And Derek realized that maybe, just maybe, he didn't need to be a dragon to have the best-smelling breath in the kingdom. The end.